Now, this is pretty interesting. So, CNN guest David Axelrod, who was part of the Obama administration, he was part of the Obama campaigns. He was also pretty critical of Hillary Clinton after her loss to Donald Trump. And recently, I had done a video covering him basically admitting the secret that goes on at CNN and all the other mainstream media outlets, which is that, we never talk much about Bernie Sanders. Why is that? Why don't we talk about Bernie Sanders? Well, here, he's actually going to state that Bernie Sanders is the best positioned and that he would choose Bernie out of Pete and Joe as the three candidates in this scenario. And let's go ahead and hear him out.
It's in a three-way tie with Bernie Sanders and Mayor Pete Buttigieg for first in Iowa. Whose position of those three would you rather be in?
That's really hard to say. I think Sanders probably because he is almost invulnerable here. He raised more money than anyone else. He's got a very committed core of supporters. He's going to do reasonably well in Iowa. He could win Iowa.
Didn't people all but write him off after the heart attack?
Yeah, they did. I mean, I think the thing that we relearn this lesson every 4 years, which is don't jump to any conclusions about Iowa or a presidential race too early. There are too many dynamics. Things change. He's come back smartly. Elizabeth Warren had some issues related to Medicare for All that tripped her up a bit.
So, as you guys see there, David Axelrod, who is not irrelevant, and I don't discount his political analysis. In fact, I do like to hear him out because he does seem to have some good, logical takes. And for him to say this is pretty big. This is a big Obama guy, obviously. So for him to say that he thinks that Bernie is best positioned because he could do well / win in Iowa, and then he can also win in New Hampshire. And he also mentions how Bernie Sanders is literally the fundraising pace setter. Okay, the dude raised $34.5 million, an insane amount. I still can't believe he raised that much. At the time, I thought it was like, oh, it's going to be like 28 million. It's like, no, it's 34.5, which is a massive number, okay? A massive number. And so I'm certainly excited to see more positive coverage of Bernie Sanders. Now, I don't know if I just didn't look closely enough, but there seems to be a trend on YouTube channels of these networks where they don't post these videos on YouTube, maybe because they don't want more people to see these kinds of videos, but, I've got, like, videos on Killer Mike, going to bat for Bernie Sanders, MSNBC, CNN, none of them ever posted on YouTube. Same thing goes for, like, when Cenk and Anna go on CNN, they never post it to YouTube. I don't know if I just didn't look deeply enough, but I don't think I saw this on their YouTube page, so, again, they don't seem to be very, much wanting to show this kind of a thing, but Bernie Sanders came away from the heart attack and went up 5 points, okay? He's now at the RCP average. He's above 20 points. I believe for the first time in a long time. The only thing is Biden has also ticked up a little bit. So the gap is essentially the same, but he's going up. Warren and Pete Buttigieg are going down. So Bernie Sanders is going strong. If he shows up strong in Iowa and New Hampshire, then that momentum is going to lead and continue forward. It'll also change the media narrative as the media will be forced to talk about how Bernie Sanders won those, the Iowa caucus and New Hampshire primary. So it's very exciting, and the mainstream media has recently been doing more coverage of Bernie Sanders, as you guys saw, with them essentially talking about how it is that Bernie Sanders, has a chance to win this. There was a slew of mainstream media outlets who did segments on this. So very glad to see this, and glad to see David Axelrod saying this.